Hi, Priya.
Hi.
Welcome to the podcast called Brain in You. This is specifically for parents who have children on the spectrum or individuals themselves who are on the spectrum. And the reason I got you on this show today is because I know you've led a very similar journey and you have come up, or rather, you have raised your son in a very, I would say, in a very victorious way. When I went through your study, when I went to your story that you had shared with me, there were lots of things that you took upon yourself, which not necessarily every parent is able to do. And that is exactly what I want to bring out in today's discussion. So I have a couple of questions that before I begin, I want you to introduce yourself for the listeners.
Well, thank you so much for having me in this show. And I am Priya Ajbani. I am a mom to a beautiful 19-year-old son with autism. And Dave doesn't only have autism, but he is a symbol of strength for me and for I feel their entire family. And Dave is an artist and a brilliant athlete as well. And I am an entrepreneur by profession, and I'm into my family business of fire and security over the past 20 years. I have twins actually. So Dave's got a beautiful sister called Dia.
Okay. Okay. I'm actually going to touch on that later. Because there are a lot of such questions that we come across, Priya, that how should a sibling bond be like? And a lot of young parents also ask this question, is it the right decision to take to have a sibling, not to have a sibling? So maybe we'll take up your view later, but let me
Sure.
start with this question first. This is in the initial part of the story that you had shared with me, more around when Dave was diagnosed, when you were walking that path. That so tell me, did you ever feel angry at the diagnosis or even question why my child, and how did you really cope up with that phase?
Honestly, I never felt either. I didn't feel angry and I never questioned myself also. I just felt very, there was a lot of grief. Grief would be the right word. And it was, it was a shock because the thing is, with Dave, what happened is that we saw normal growth up till the age of 4.5 years. And I remember that time in December 2010, when he was exactly 4.5, he had a very sudden regression over the period of a week.
Mm,
So it was like how you fill up the bottle and it just becomes empty.
yeah.
It was a
Mm,
big drop. So
mm,
when we saw that, sudden change in behavior and speech loss and hyperactivity, we were more worried for him that, what happened. And what followed that was, the usual doctor visits and neurologist and, all those things, which get you very anxious, lot of grief, lot of stress. And when it settled in over a period of weeks and months, that is the time when it really hits you, because
yeah,
it really you're still in denial, all
yeah,
those weeks, all those months. And then
yeah.
when finally it is the time to accept, grief strikes more, I feel, because then you
Mm, mm,
actually
mm,
understand that you have
mm,
to, this is
mm,
this is not going to change. This is going to remain for the rest of our lives. And
mm,
now, how do we deal with it? Especially like at that time, I had no clue what autism was.
yeah, yeah.
Those, we had never even heard of that word. So for us, it's something like was something new we were also dealing with. We were also learning. We also didn't know. So we ourselves had to get educated.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah.
yeah, yeah. In that initial phase, Priya, in that journey, what's one thing you wish doctors or therapists never said to you?
I went to this particular neurologist, in Bombay, and this was the very, week. And when we met her and she, spent some time with Dave, I thought, she didn't have any sensitivity towards the parents.
Mm,
The way she gave the diagnosis and the way she, actually spoke to us was without any sensitivity. And I
mm,
thought, like, doctors, neurologists get, they have to be very sensitive. They may be seeing
yeah,
many children on the spectrum. Today, if you see the data, it's 1 in a 68 kids in India and 1 in a
mm,
100 kids in the world. as per World Health
Mm,
Organization, which are who are on the spectrum.
mm,
And I'm
mm.
sure the doctors would be seeing so many children, but at the same time, it's the first time for us.
Yeah,
So yeah, so I feel that insensitivity is something which we dealt with, and because we were spoken in that manner, me and my husband, we both had tears in our eyes.
yeah, yeah,
Same time, we did go to the US. We went to Boston Children's Hospital for the diagnosis, and I just saw the approach which they used was
yeah,
very different.
yeah,
They really cared about our how we were feeling, and after
yeah.
every sentence, they would ask us at the Boston
Are you
Children's
okay?
Hospital in the US that are you okay?
Yeah,
How do you feel about this?
yeah,
We will help you.
yeah.
With everything the plan. So I feel a lot of
That's true.
difference towards India and West,
Yeah.
how even parents are like not being sensitively handled.
Mm, mm, mm,
It's
mm,
not
mm.
only the child who needs that understanding.
True.
I think the parents who are
Need it more.
responsible for the
Mm.
children really need much
Yeah,
more.
yeah, yeah.
So that's
Especially in the
what's
beginning.
really lacking.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Agreed. And I'm sure in the beginning, and I was reading this in your narration as well, that in the beginning, especially, there would have been a lot of burnout. So even in your
Absolutely.
case, I'm assuming that would have happened. So
Absolutely.
how did you manage the burnout? Did you ever feel like giving up? How did that moment actually look like?
So initially was a lot of running around doctors, therapists, getting to know about the subject. I spent hours googling, reading books, trying to understand, speaking to other parents, trying to get in touch with the UK and US therapy centers, schools, etc. Because that time the treatments were not as much available as they are today. And I think a good amount of a year went in that. And post which, yes, we joined a program called IAHP, which was in Philadelphia, Institute for Attainment of Human Potential. And
Hmm.
we used to take Dave every 6 months. We used to get a program from there, and the parents were supposed to run the program. In my case, I ran the program with Dave for 3 years, 365 days. Every day, we used to work 14 to 16 hours. I used to handle my business, and along with working with Dave. So there was a physical program, there was an intellectual program, there was bits of intelligence, there was a breathing, and you give extra oxygen to the brain. There was a lot of masking. So it's throughout the day, which but I did not want to give up on Dave. I was
Okay.
very positive, and I only was in one. I just had one thing in mind: कि I have to get my son up to a particular level. Or I never
His best.
underestimated
Yeah,
his potential.
yeah,
I never knew his potential till we
yeah,
don't
yeah,
try. So we
yeah,
did do that for 3 years, every single day, Saturday, Sunday.
yeah.
Rain, thunder, whatever it is, we would not. And they beautifully received it, and even
And
he
reciprocated.
he
Yeah,
reciprocated. So that
yeah,
was, and
yeah,
I found that really amazing. So we
yeah,
did used to
yeah.
do bright creations, and at that time we found out that he is an amazing athlete, and that
Yeah.
is what we need to tap. But yes, by
Mm,
the end of the third year, mentally I was exhausted, physically I was exhausted, and at that point of time I said, I think I need to give myself some
yeah,
space, and like we need to stop here.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
but till date it continues. Every time there's a different challenge, every few months there's a different challenge. Sometimes there are sleep issues, sometimes there are anxiety issues, sometimes some different fears come up. You don't know what comes up when. So it is a journey. It is a work in progress. So even
True.
if the adult
Mm,
is 25 or 30 or whatever,
mm,
they have many other underlying conditions, and the parents have to constantly work
mm, mm.
with the support system.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's exactly what you see today is a result and outcome of that. And that's exactly what I told you before you even started, that
Yes.
when I went through your profile on LinkedIn and whatever you've written about yourself here and there, whatever I could judge from that, it just I like I mentioned, I was able to categorize you in one of those categories where I have seen parents pushing themselves very hard, not just the child. They're just so dedicated they're working very, very hard. And in the end, you do see outcomes. So I'm
Absolutely.
glad that you shared this. It will at least give people that hope that when you work, you do see results. So thank you for that. I'm taking you back a few years, or maybe it still happens with you today, Priya. But maybe early in the years, it would have probably been more predominant. That did you feel isolated or judged by people around you, even family or friends, who just didn't get what you were going through?
Uh, my near family is very supportive. We've been really blessed, Dave, me, and Dia. So we did get complete. I think family support is so, important. And it's very
Mm-hmm.
important for parents to reach out to the near family and far family, and speak about it. Because if
Yeah,
we are not doing that,
yeah,
then our kids will be judged, and we will always be judged. When it happened with me in the initial years, I was not really taking Dave to those family events, because
mm,
he was very hyper and he was a complete foodie. He would just go and grab anything, so behavior issues were there. And I thought, we stay in such a society, it's not
yeah,
okay. And with
mm,
the kids with autism, what happens, we used to travel a lot with Dave, and they look so, like, Dave is such a handsome guy. He's physically so fit, and he, so people would think he's a badly behaved child, because he would be crying in the plane, or irritated, or would do some stims, and people would stare. And I would go in a freeze zone, because I was very bothered about, you grow as a parent,
judgment.
and you,
Mm,
so I was very bothered. Every time we used to take the flight, he used to get irritable, and people used to stare. And a lot of times, even when we used to go to the garden, we stay in this big building, so we used to go to the garden, and people do give looks. And when we go to the restaurant, he's not able to sit for that long, so he like make some noise or do something. And people will stare, not once, twice, again and again. So it does make us conscious. Our society is not understanding and matured for that. Okay, fine, this
yeah,
person has some real genuine issue, so it's okay. Let's not let them be in their zone and comfort. So the society doesn't
yeah,
make you comfortable.
yeah,
But I feel parents have to really make themselves and reflect deeply, and make themselves strong, that what, I'm going to do whatever is best for my child, whether my child is
mm,
making noise, whether my
mm,
child is irritable, whatever. We are
mm,
not doing anything wrong. I think the focus should be the child here, and
yeah,
not the people around. When
mm,
we are clear with that thought, and when we make ourselves repeatedly strong, I think that's the breakthrough. It
yeah,
happens at that point of time. And
mm,
when the
mm,
parent is confident, and not bothered, I think the other people also, they do, I think the reactions are
they
much
accept.
lesser.
Mm, mm,
Yeah.
mm. In this journey, Priya, you also oscillated between different emotions. So how did you manage the pressure, like you just said, about fixing and all? So how did you manage the pressure to fix Dave versus accept and celebrate him just as he is?
I never ever thought of fixing him. I think we cannot fix things, and I don't think that is the right way to think about children with autism. We cannot fix. What we
Yeah,
can do, we can try our best, and we can really get them to their best potential. I feel we need
yeah,
to, yeah. So we need to give them opportunities, a lot of opportunities, different opportunities. But a lot of times we get bogged down by all these fears of behaviors, and like social surroundings and all, because of which we do not expose our children and give them opportunities which they deserve. If they are given those opportunities, you will see amazing things happening.
yeah.
So I have really worked on myself over the years,
Mm,
with my spirituality, reflection, journaling, educating myself, and actually spending a lot of time thinking that, my anxieties are so, whatever, but I need to see that, I need to give my child the best. See, all the parents love their children, that's, we don't have to say
that's
that.
given.
But yeah, that's a given. but to get that strength and from within you, and every mother has it within her,
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah,
uh,
yeah,
yeah. So it's not
yeah.
it takes time, it takes a
It
lot of
takes
effort,
time.
but
Yeah.
the parents,
Mm,
especially the mothers, have to really work on themselves and give themselves priority. I've seen when I give myself priority and space from the kids, from both my kids, and work on myself, I think beautiful things start happening for the
mm,
children,
mm, mm,
because then we are not operating in a pressure zone.
mm.
The minute we operate in a pressure zone, stress, we really cannot do anything. We do not have that energy inside us. How do we give it to the children?
So,
How do we
yeah,
pour that out?
yeah,
So that's how
yeah,
I have, over the years, worked on myself
yeah.
and Dave.
Something very similar I'll share with you. I was speaking to a parent, and it's been a year since I spoke to him last. And he said something very beautiful that struck with me was he said, for a year, or for rather several years, I was trying to fix my son. And just one day it struck me when I was backing my car to take him out for a class, and they used to leave for a class in the morning and come back in the night. So that is how he said I was trying to fix him. That, one day he'll be fixed. And then when I was backing my car and I was approaching him, I just saw him standing under a tree, vaguely looking at the sky. And something struck him was he just got down of the car, he went up to his son, and he said, I am sorry. I
Mm,
am done fixing you. You're not a broken machine to be fixed.
absolutely.
From today,
Absolutely.
we will do exactly what you want to do. We will live a good life. We'll be a happy family. We will have fun. And we will be out of this race of fixing. And that is the day when he saw his son bloom.
Absolutely.
And his son is doing
Absolutely.
beautiful today. Yeah, he's become this influencer on YouTube, and this whole family
Amazing.
is working hard. So it's amazing. So
Um,
I resonate with that, whatever you said, because I also personally feel that when you are with sitting on so much of energy of stress, you're giving out so much of negativity. Any work, whether it is children or your own business or any other work, nothing really flourishes. So I think I agree with
Absolutely.
that. Yeah. One last thing that I want your take on, Priya, here is that, and you can be honest here. So, do you think India is still failing neurodiverse young adults today?
Um, Well, a lot is happening, like awareness, people are coming out, speaking. Uh, but I feel we have still a long way to go, because we see, we've been born and brought up in like the best of cities like
Yeah,
Bombay, Delhi, and all. So the scenario over there is very different, the support system scenario. And I can, I can speak in that point of view only,
yeah,
being born and brought up in Mumbai. We still have a very, very long way to go wherein neurodiversity is concerned, whether it's government initiatives, whether they are schools, educational institutions. Inclusion is a big question mark.
yeah,
We see a lot happening in the space of awareness, but actually including is, I think we are really, really far away from that. We have the Right to Education Act. I'm just going to give you a simple example. Well, that says, like, any school should be able to teach any kind of a child. But that's clearly not happening, even in cities like,
no,
Delhi,
it's not.
Calcutta, Mumbai. Dave himself had to face this challenge of moving out of IB school, an IB school. We had to change him in grade 5. Of course, he couldn't, go ahead with the curriculum. But, a lot of adjustments are needed, for kids with, neurodiversity. And clearly, the biggest of schools are not doing that. We're talking about workspaces. Workspaces are like a far fetched dream.
Yeah,
We are
mm,
not even doing it at the school level.
yeah,
With the Right to Education Act coming, the
mm,
parents have to constantly go to court, and it becomes very stressful.
yeah,
So it's only the parents of, are really, doing something wherein awareness is concerned, and something which I am doing. Like, we also, employ young adults with neurodiversity. That's because I have been through that journey.
yeah.
But saying that, I
Yeah.
feel we still have to do a lot. The government
Mm,
has to do a
mm,
lot. The,
mm,
NGOs have to do a lot. And
mm.
we as a society have to do a lot, because you see mostly more than 95% of disabled adults are sitting at home doing
They
nothing.
are. They are.
And
Yeah.
that is a big worry, because disability is just going on increasing. If you see the data,
True.
it's just getting. So I
It just
think it's
get, yeah.
high time that the government has to do something to
Yeah.
have a very inclusive society.
Yeah. 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 I would agree with it. I mean, I'm a big example of that. I can tell you that till about maybe 4, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, I just knew the word autism. If you would ask me what it is, maybe I would give you a silly answer.
Hmm.
Or I would bucket it into some kind of, I don't know, maybe not a disease, but a disorder or some kind. But I would never know, um, I would never know it thoroughly. And that's exactly what is happening with the society today. So we had actually made a documentary called Beyond Labels, which I made because I thought that I am apparently an educated person from a good city. And if I have no clue about neurodiversity, then I'm sure most of the India is either like me or even worse. So, and after we were in this journey with Ayurved and we had access to so many parents and individuals who are neurodiverse, we thought, why not just, understand what is the journey like from a parent's point of view? And it was made only with this idea that let's just build awareness. And that was the purpose. And in that, there's a, if you get to watch it, I'll share the link with you. We go around communities asking, these well-to-do communities and, residents of there that what is autism? What is autism? And you should see the answers and nothing against them, but this is exactly maybe how I was too.
Yeah.
So to your point, I think I agree. Forget job, but even at the community, forget the schools also, but even at the
Mm.
community where we stay,
Yes.
I mean, most of the children don't even really get to go out and go to the park because they're judged and questioned and stared upon.
Yes.
So, yeah, I agree. Anything that you would want to add, Priya? If I missed on asking something important, please add.
No, I just, would like to tell a message, maybe send a message to especially parents with younger kids, that, that's the age, to work with them
Yeah.
on a lot of different things, give them loads of opportunities, take them everywhere, make them socialize, expose them to the world, let the world be exposed to them, and do not hide them behind the doors. And I feel like every child on the spectrum has that one or two,
Mm,
unique abilities, or they have, unique talents, and we need to really get that out. And
mm,
only when the parents expose them to different classes, different give them different opportunities, will they actually know what is in their child? Otherwise they will never know. If I wouldn't expose Dave to art, I would never know that, okay,
mm.
he's born to be an artist. Now he is enrolled into a visual arts program. It took
Uh,
us a long time. It may
mm.
not happen at age 6, 7, 10. It may happen, for Dave, it happened at age 17.
Okay.
But still, he's very young, and we really worked a lot with his motor abilities. Like today he runs in the race course 5 kilometers every day. He takes part in marathons, cyclothons. He does inline skating. He does Olympic size pool. Like, you can do 12 laps at the same time. How did we achieve that? It's
Yeah.
because we gave him that opportunity. We got him the
Yeah.
right trainers. He used to go practice every day. And today, over the years, you see, like, he's
Yeah.
an amazing, like, he'll keep his, his peers would be given a run. you know so I would
Amazing.
really
Yeah.
request
Yeah. Mm.
parents to really, give their kids those opportunities.
Yeah, keep
You
trying.
know,
Yeah, I get
that's
it.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. I mean, I loved the story and I knew. So, in the end, my objective was to bring out the message that you shared in the end that
Yes,
I know it gets very tough in the beginning, but the
yes,
reason of me bringing out these stories, getting people like you on
yes.
the platform is so that these parents, uh, while they go through the grief, they can just, start off very early,
Mm,
not miss that initial years
yes.
and just continue,
Yeah.
because you never know when like is
Yeah.
gonna strike.
Yeah, and I feel children with autism, and they're so honest, they're so like
Yeah.
spiritual, and they're so like my when I am low, like I can just go to Dave and give him a hug, and I am so calm. Like a lot of times my work stresses me and all, I just go give him a hug, and a lot of things which are happening with today's teenagers, I think they're
Ah,
so much stressful for parents. And
yeah.
here we are talking about neurodiverse kids, and I think I am the most
Hmm.
happiest parent because I
Hmm.
do not have any such issues with Dave. Like Dave, like is a very simple boy. He'll go,
Yeah.
he loves
Yeah.
school, he'll come back, he'll hug me, and everything is so calm with him. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would not exchange that with a
With anything.
neurotypical child.
Thank you so much for this, Pooja.
Yeah,
The last line was the best, and I wish you, Dia, Dev, all the very best. And I look
thank
forward
you.
to seeing his paintings. I look forward to see him run
Sure,
in different
I'll
competitions.
share it.
And yeah, yeah.
I'll
Thank
share
you
it
so
with you.
much.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
Bye.
yeah.